This Ozark Trail 10-in-1 survival kit is just a box of Chinese crap. But can we take an objective look at it, see where it can actually be useful with some caveats, and also see where we could also maybe improve it for not that much money? I don't know. Let's find out. Alright, so here's the first caveat here. Is that when most people are going out hiking or doing their everyday daily tasks, they have their emotional support water bottle. In this case, it's a single-wall stainless steel clean canteen. But you can substitute that with a vacuum-sealed one. It's just that when you go boil water in it, you're going to have to punch a hole in that vacuum seal, otherwise it could possibly blow up in your face. But that's enough about that. We're not talking about the stainless steel water bottle. We're talking about this 10-in-1 survival kit. But I just put that caveat in there because, well, most people would carry it. And for the vast majority of people that would carry their emotional support water bottle, they would have that on them. Now, if you have this survival kit on you, which comes in this little cheap plastic case, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's on the inside of it. Which it has way too many clamps on it for my liking. It doesn't have a rubber seal in it. But the first thing that's on the top is one of these cheap commando saws. Now, the only problem with these is that you got to know how to use them in order to actually use one effectively. Because these cheap Chinese ones all have the exact same problem. That they will get hot if you try to put too much force on them, and they will break. So, you take this, and you kind of slowly go at what you're doing, and then you just break the branch off. That's my honest opinion of how to use one of these things the best. Don't loop them over, because they'll rub against each other, and they will break. Don't put too much force on them, or they will snap. Whereas these things aren't the greatest thing on the planet, they are better than nothing. Which this kit gives you nothing. Now, the next thing that's on top of here is a piece of scrap metal with some cordage attached to it. This is a saber card, and I hate saber cards because that isn't a sharp edge. It's got a freaking burr on it. It's got a serrated edge that is not sharp. It's got a bottle opener. Got your various size freaking little screw openings, but these don't work. But the one thing I'm curious about now is where's the end of the rope? There it is, because this is cordage. Cordage is important to building survival shelters or anything like that. That I'm more interested in the cordage that's on here than I am on what this card can do, because this card is legitimately, as I said, just a piece of scrap metal. So we can toss the saber card off the corner, because depending on how many bottle openers you find on something is how much crap you find. But you get roughly around, I'd say about 3 feet of cord. Not even 3 feet, probably more like 2.5 feet. I don't have a Fred Hobby yardstick or a ruler on me, so I can't show that. But you got some cordage. We'll look at the Mylar Survival blanket later. It has a bottle holder, which is stupid to me because they don't give you a bottle. Now, I understand you could actually loop this to the clean canteen and carry it on you, but in reality, this is worthless. I mean, sure, you could use the loop for tying something or whatever, but to me, that is worthless. Then you have your paracord survival bracelet, complete with whistle. Let me blow your eardrums out. It has a compass, which in my opinion, most of these button compasses generally don't point the direction they're supposed to. But this one seems to be a little bit different, because the camera right now is facing south, and as you can see, the compass is pointing north. If it'll focus. Focus, please. Focus. There we go. See, it's pointing north. But this thing has some stupid gimmicks to it, such as it has this little thing right here, and it has a tiny little ferro rod that you ain't sparking with that. Come on. Yeah, that's worthless. But how much cordage do you got here? Let's find out. I'm going to jump ahead on this one to actually unraveling the whole thing because it's braided on here. So at jump cut. Alright, so I finally got it apart. That's roughly around 2 feet. 2 feet doubled up for this, about 8 feet of cord. Now, using it smartly, you could use that not necessarily to tie like a ridge line or something, but you can use that to lash some wood together, maybe make yourself a little tripod with a little lean-to. But they don't give you a saw to work with, so the little bit of cordage they give you could be totally usable. They don't give you enough. There's room in here for more than that. They also give you another whistle, so time to blow your eardrums out again. That one's a little louder. I didn't blow on it as hard as I could. Now, this is not exactly a ferro rod, if I remember correctly by its description on the box. You always get that cheap Chinese plastic to freaking make you feel good about yourself. Let's see here. They didn't actually. Goddamn rope. Yeah, that's pretty decent little ferro rod, actually. I'm going to give them credit on that one because it said it had a mag bar in it, which some of these things, when they go around here, will have a little ferro rod on them with a magnesium attached to them. That's perfectly serviceable. Not ideal, but serviceable. This also has a ruler and a bottle opener on it. Do not know why in a survival situation you need a bottle opener, because usually you'd be outdoors. And then you got a carabiner of questionable quality. That is not for climbing. But it is one of the ones that you can screw up and it locks. This is the cheapest carabiner I've ever used like this. But if you needed to use for a carabiner, you got one. You got one. And then you got the knife. Is it assisted? Let's see. It's a linear lock that is partially assisted. Now, I don't know really why you need a window breaker. Don't know why you need a seatbelt cutter. But it's got one. And my question is, just like on the Friday Night Knife reviews that I do, is it sharp? No. I guess it's not the dullest thing on the planet. But it's not really the sharpest thing on the planet either. So that's pretty dull for all things considered. But it does have a serrated edge that feels like it's stout. I have no idea what the blade steel is. It's probably 440. Something or other. It's got a pocket clip on it. But this is your standard tactical, cheapo, gas station quality pocket knife. Let's see, how well is the blade in it? The blade's in it okay. It'd be serviceable for the situation, because most of the times if you find yourself in a survival situation, you'd only be outside for maybe 3 days tops. And with the compass actually being semi-functional, you could actually probably walk in a somewhat straight line. That to me is probably more important in here than anything else in this. Because there are places where you can go off a beaten path, and you will find very quickly that it is very easy to get lost very quickly. I'm thinking mostly in like the Northwest. You walk out. But here's the Mylar survival blanket. And oh my god, I thought it just fell apart on me. And I don't really care about the size of it too much. But I've always wondered if you could use one of these things to build like an emergency shelter. But then it's very, I didn't do that on camera, on frame. But it's very fragile material as it won't break now. I like how I did it right there on the fold. And it just ripped like that. But I think if you were careful enough with this, if you built like a lean-to shelter, and then you wove this through, and then you started a fire on the side to hopefully get the infrared heat to reflect off the fire to you, that having one of these would be invaluable. But if you put it up against your skin, you can feel the heat actually reflecting back on you. But my only complaint about these things is, sorry, that's pretty loud, is that they have heavy metals in them to keep them pliable. Such as they do contain lead, they can potentially cause contamination after a while. But all in all, not a bad thing to have, but also not a necessary thing to have. What would I have included in this kit to make it that much better? That would have fit along with all the other stuff that's in there. Possibly something like this mini Bic. I would have included way more cordage. That's just personal preference. I probably would have put a knife in there that wasn't serrated, but some people like the serrated knives, and the serrated edges are actually nice for cutting rope, but of course a nice good edge on a knife will cut a rope. You can cut the rope with the seatbelt cutter, such as, like, let's say I want to get this little piece of rope right here off. Let's see if the seatbelt cutter is sharp. No, it isn't. Yeah, so the seatbelt cutter on that's useless. But in an objective look at this kit, you have something to make fire. I prefer something like this mini Bic because, just like Sean Kelly says, first time, every time, instant gratification. But that ferro rod's perfectly serviceable. The one that comes with the little bracelet isn't. But I'm surprised that this button compass actually works. It doesn't work perfectly, but it works. But if you find yourself in a survival situation and you only have a button compass, you already did something wrong. And if this is the kit that you have on you in a survival situation, you've already did something wrong. But could it be used to make your situation a lot less horrible? Well, if you remember to carry your emotional support water bottle, absolutely. But yeah, just some more cordage, a better knife, a lighter would have made this kit all that much better. But other than that, hopefully I took an objective look at this. And this isn't the first time I've ever looked at a survival kit. And if you want to take a look at some of the ones that I did a little less objectively than that, go ahead and click on one of these videos over here.